like ooh la la, ooh la la. It's not hard to say how I feel. It's like ooh la la, ooh la la. It's kinda easy now 'cause it's real. Hey.
Well, hi, you guys. I'm here. Just a moment. My camera has gone dark. I forgot it does that. I'm here. I'm here in the dark. How you doing? Oh, I was upstairs with Bob. We were doing something, watching something, and I completely forgot to. We're having dinner, and there it is. So I just have to see. I'm just talking in the dark, and the exposure on this thing used to just hold. Now it doesn't. There we go. Okay, there I am. I'm back. I'm back. Eh. Hey, Susan, how are you? And Linda and Tamra. There we go. Gosh. Okay, got it going. Got that back. Don't really need this in my way. Oh, hold it. This is supposed to be over here. Whoa. What happened? There it is. That's over there. Anyway, how is everybody tonight? I hope you are doing well. Although, what are you scratching at? Although it's just been decided that within the past 10 minutes, he needed to get my attention, interact, and scratch around and be all kind of crazy guy. So I hope everybody is doing well. Let's see, got the sound going. Everything. Oh, my desk. I can be able to show you much art if I have that in front of there. I've got a mess here. I spent the weekend. Friday, was it Friday? Friday night, Friday afternoon. Yes, Friday afternoon. I drove over to my sister's and to see Patty and to help her out. And oh my gosh, that fire that took out her garage and and the everything in it. And so they had a metal roof, it's a pole barn. Part of it was metal siding, part of it wood. Inside, she had there was a whole back wall. It was a 3-car garage, so the whole back wall had this beautiful old wooden workbench that Sandy Tharp, a friend of hers from grade school, her grandfather had made, and Patty had it. That's gone. When the insurance adjuster called Patty and asked her to go look at the odometer of her car, which had burned up in the barn, she said, "But the car's gone." He goes, "Well, I need the odometer reading for total, to determine whether it's a total loss." And she said, "There is no odometer left. It's melted. Everything was gone. I mean, all that's left of that car is literally a few pieces of wire of the metal framing, and those are all charred and buckled." Yeah, they had 2 gas cans, 3 propane tanks, a bunch of paint, and all kinds of stuff in there because it was a farm garage, and they all just blew. So yes. Anyway, let's see. So what's everybody saying? Linda's here. Yay. I hope you're feeling better, Linda. How's that shoulder doing? And you're in the dark. I'm in the dark. Yes. I'm in the dark about a lot of things. Yeah, I said hello to Tamara, and she's not here. I did too. And then there was light making progress. Her house was fine. Fortunately, the tree, her big tree in the back, it burned the outer edges. It singed it. Unfortunately, it didn't catch on fire. It kept it because if it would have caught the tree, it would have gone over the tree's big enough that it went like over her garden and would have gone over over the house, and it would have leaped onto the roof of the house. Uh, Part of her standing her raised bed gardens were burned. The fence that was between the garden area, backyard, and the gravel area of the driveway was burned. Um, she had two storage containers in the back behind that, and the outside of one of them started to buckle, so they kept that from burning though. But yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. Things that just total melted. They had all these tires, and they think it might have been electrical, but then once it's the propane tanks and all the gas tanks blew everything, which is fun. But they'd had old tires piled up on the side of the garage, and they were going to take them out and put them out on the road and just say for free. Well, completely melted. All the rubber's gone. All gone. All that's left are these burned, charred, buckling rims of tires, of like tractor tires and stuff. Crazy. Hi, Fatima. How are you? And Lupe's here. Oh my goodness. Good to have you guys here. Okay, so I'm gonna get rolling on this. So that was thing. I was over there for that for Friday. Patty, I took her out for happy hour. She and I both needed it, and um, that was fun. And then Saturday morning, I headed over to the reunion, gospel press reunion group that I was in high school, and um, you know, literally, our youth director is 85, and so it was a great fun. They were having a special guest coming up for today. I didn't stay for today, but it was good to see everybody. We sang, may had silly trivia games, and then got to see some. I hadn't seen a friend of mine, RJ from high school. He's been in San Diego all this time. Got to see him and got to see some of my friends. Hey, there's Carlos. Nice to have you here. And so it was one of those things. It was real good, a real good time, and it was important I go there for my because uh, the fire was really devastating. You have a lot of boxes of things of memories in there and stuff, plus three lawn tractors and a car, and it all is in a piled rubble of nothingness right now. Thing, and she's just trying to deal with it. And her husband is of the mind that she ought to go out right now and get a new car, get a new lawn tractor, and they have 3 acres, and Patty's 80, and she's like, no, I'm not doing that right now. My granddaughter is leaving for England in 2 days. I can drive her car. I don't need to get a car until we get settlements and anything like that. And I'm considering hiring people to come do the lawn, you know, because you can get a lot of lawn service in for $4,000 is what a new lawn tractor costs for a plot of land like that. And Patty instead had somebody come in for $100 that trimmed it, edged it, and mowed it, and it was done, and she didn't have to worry about it. So, but her husband, you know, he has mild dementia and he doesn't quite get this whole thing, and he's having a hard time. And so I spent some time with sister, and it was good. It was good. And then I drove back over Chinook Pass. It was beautiful, gorgeous, no traffic. It was absolutely wonderful. Anyway, so that's what's going on today. And so it's time for show and tell. I think that's what's happening. We've got Linda and Tamara's here, and Carlos is here, and Lupe's here, and Fatima's here, and Susan's here. The crowd is in. Nice. This is great. Yay. So let's. Okay, here we start. Let me move this back over to where I can see. Is this the one? Yeah, I can do this. Ah, yay. Okay, so here is the wrong. thing to show. Let me see. Is this Tamara? Where am I? On Tamara's first thing. Hold it. That's not that. Okay. Let's get this right. Tamara was hoping I could get it in order. I got the other one in order. I got this one in order. I just hadn't closed. So this was one she sent in last week, called A Lake of Dreams, and it was created from leftover watercolor paper that she used for cleaning brushes and testing colors for the last painting I did, turning it into another art piece so satisfying. And she's pleased with the results. So here was stage 1 and 2. She says, and she's done it in stages 1 to 3 to close up to the final piece. Has a feel good, beautiful vibe for me, and I hope you can feel it too. So let's get rid of the text so I can make the pictures a little larger. You can see them. Here's stage 1 and 2 that she did. So this is her, yeah. This is, yeah, I'll take this, put this up here. There we go. So this is when she cleans off her brushes when she's painting and the paper that she uses. So she then saves it and cuts it up into makes things. So that's stage 1 and 2. Here is stage 3. Make it a little bigger. Paper collage pieces already that are ready. We'll prepare more if I needed. All these pieces are from the same large piece of watercolor paper that she used to clean and test for a painting. And so then she cuts out the pieces that she wants from that. And then we get, this is the one she's, the working had. Isn't that cool? And then here is the last one. There we go. And there she did this one. I really like this Tamara. It's gorgeous. It is really, really gorgeous. So nice. So excellent. Excellent job. So she did that one. That was when last Sunday when I couldn't be here. And she'd sent that in. So where's my, yay. On that one. Then she has another one here. Let me turn these all off. There we go. And this piece was sort of the sister, she said, to Lake of Dreams. The leftovers from what didn't get used. Not sure what to call this piece. Any suggestions? So she's asking for suggestions. They're both quite busy pieces, lots happening. She's not pasted this yet. I need a canvas. The size is about 18 inches square and I want the canvas to be a lot larger than the piece. It needs space around it. I'll not be able to attach it to paper or card because it will buckle, and I want the background a light color, if not white. So that means painting. Anyway, she says her fave is the original piece. That feels busy enough that that is the last one of these images. Okay, so let's turn that off right there and go to the pictures that she does. So now I can make them a little bigger. Yay. So here we go. Stage 1, 2, and 3 of the paper. So with some leftovers and see how she starts to develop it. It's very cool. I love that you send this in, Tamara, with all the development that you're doing to show us. Okay, and then we've got, this is trying to choose for the final piece. Playing with Paint 3D program, should I extend the tree lines or leave the original piece as is? And then she came up with this one as her final. I really like this. Really like this Tamara. It's like the animals are having a block party, you know. It has all the different animals in it. They're all getting together. They're all like some are at the watering hole. Yeah, this is like a time lapse at a watering hole. Different ones at different times, but all, you know, what's left behind. See the goddess and the bird and then the elephants. There's a couple elephants. There's another bird down here. Um, I thought I saw something else when I was looking at it. It is friends gathering. Yeah. Ah, mankind. Oh, that's good. Oh, I like that, Susan. Mankind. Nice. Well done. Yay. You might have dog's face. I thought I saw a frog down toward the bottom. It's one of those that you can look at time and again in different ways and see different things. Okay, so next we have, I'll show you what I've been doing. All right, so I started playing with that dry pigment rub. So this is a black and white photo. And I was trying to figure out which ones would work. And this paper is not very good because it's a cotton archive cotton paper, but a photo paper. So it's a matte and it doesn't have much tooth. So it doesn't really work for this dry pigment rub. So, but this was one of the ones I got started on to try. It was one of my ones from Death Valley. But compared to the other ones I've done that I started to try this on, I think I put too much color in it. This is another one from Hawaii, and I printed it out in black and white, and I added just a bit of dry pigment into the color here and a bit into the sand, and I kind of like the minimal bit better. But these were just test ideas, and like this one too was a test of what the green would like. See how it comes off really like crazy. So when you're doing this, it really works better if I'm rubbing it into a paper that has some tooth. So that's what I'm working on, and that was about it. It's nowhere near completion, which is kind of worrisome because I've got to get a couple done in the next couple weeks before the show on Labor Day weekend. Yikes. Anyway, so that's all I've done. So let's go to there. Back to me. Bear, back to me. Is that the right way? Kind of. Anyway, did anybody send anything in that I did not see? I looked right before I got on and did not see anything else. So if you didn't send anything this week, but you want to and you're working on anything, send it for next week and I'll get it in. Today has been just kind of those. Bob is going down to watch the grandkids tomorrow. So I have to get him to the airport early in the morning. And for that reason, it's just one of those kind of things that I'm doing. What is that all about? Why is that there? Oh, I know why. Hang on. I got to take something back over here. My air. Okay. Anyway, I have a book to read today, and it's by Nikkolas Smith. Um, it's called The Artivist, and he you'll have to I apologize if I have to kind of lean forward and look at it because the book doesn't expand really large to where I want to to tell you about it. But let's see if I can get to the end and it talks about where he talks about this about being an artivist. Anyway, I read his book, The History of We to Us, and I'll get out of my way things. I have something in my way. And his illustrations were just so incredible. Um, it says here, I'm going to see if I can read this to you, what he said about himself. The note from the artivist Nicholas. He says, "This book is the story of my very own artivist journey. I've always loved making art and always had a desire to help my community thrive. It started as art as therapy, but it became a way for me to paint the world I had always wanted to see. When one of my illustrations went viral and people began sharing it all, on um, signs all around the globe, I realized how connected we all are and how powerfully art can inspire us to create a more fair and just society. I truly believe that each and every one of us is fully full of creativity. It is up to us to use these talents to call out what is broken and visualize a path toward that forward that allows for true healing and equity and inclusion." Okay, there's that. Why is that doing that? Hang on. I've got something. There we go. Oops, nope, that's not what I want. This is what I want to take there. This, my windows got messed up. I tried to move them around like I told you guys. It is live. Come on, go over to this screen. That's it. Go over to this screen. So I'm going to have to bend forward a lot so that I can see the words on this, if I can get it to, because it just was not a very large book. And it just doesn't show that much. But we'll try. We're going to do our best. Okay? On art cut, let's see. What are people working on? Simplistic feel. Thanks, Linda. I do too. The silver in Hawaii is like moonlight in the daytime. That's cool. The thing with that dry pigment is that I need to remember to wear gloves and probably a mask because it makes my nose itch. Some of it does. Let's see. Not working on art, cutting, boarding coasters for your niece. Oh, for 2 large canvases. Tamara's working on that, and I'm just having problems. Oh no, I hope it's not my Speedify has gone wackadoo, but everything seems to be cruising along without it. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Knock on wood. All right, let's go and get to the Artivist. Oops. Hang on, lost my window. There we go. There we go. That's the one I want. All right. This here. Here we go. And we're going to go to this screen share there and have camera C, which is this one. You should be able to see that. Maybe. And add. Where is it? Let's see. There we go. Got it. Okay, so hopefully you can see me. I can see you and I can see the book. Yeah, sort of. There. This is The Artivist by Nikkolas Smith. I love to paint. It releases me. They say I'm an artist. I love to help my community, to seed goodness in the world. They say I'm an activist. But sometimes the world that I see is not the world that I wish to see. And the problems seem larger than life. I want to scream. I want to help. I want to act. I want to hold up a mirror to the world and show everyone that what isn't working right. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed too. Above the surface, this seems right. But that's when I realized that fixing things required us to look deeper. All I can think to do is paint the problems and the solutions people can work on together. I think it's time to combine both parts of who I am, to take action with my art. It's time to become an artivist. I will stretch and sketch and draw and scribble and paint the broken bones I see and the healing I hope for. Until, hopefully, I open a few eyes to the things that aren't working right. Or many, many eyes. Artivism has the power to spark the compassion and empathy of the whole world. And the artivist can light that flame. The artivist can inspire others to give back by painting what every person deserves. My life is worth more than all the guns. The artivist can be brave enough to speak up, even when it's scary. Protect kids, not guns. No more silence and gun violence. And humble enough to listen before speaking. The artivist is an ally. Protect trans kids. The artivist is a protector of the planet and the planet's children. The artivist is a memory keeper, part justice for all, especially all those who no longer have a voice. Jay's life mattered. The artivist doesn't only paint. She sings, he writes, they film. We repurpose, we build, we bring awareness to what can be changed for the better so that everyone can take action. The Artivist is a visionary who pieces the world back together. The Artivist is you. What changes will you create? And that's The Artivist by Nikkolas Smith. He is such a phenomenal artist and writer. Just so much in his books. I really like that one. There. Let's see. That made me feel challenged. Good. I read it too, and that's kind of how it made me feel, was that there is a lot that we can do with our art, and there is a lot that people do, and it's just amazing. Each of us have, I mean, Carlos is here and he says, wow, thank you for that. It brought me to tears, relates so much to it. Well, if you watched any of Carlos's things on his channel, um, he's really gotten into telling about those steps that we take and what they do for our own personal growth, but also what we do that ripples out to others. And that's what part of what our art does. I mean, you guys are all the ones who your ripple effect got me to actually open my first sketchbook and try doing this stuff. If it wasn't for your art, for Linda's and for Susan's and for Tamara's from the early on shows, I wouldn't have opened a sketchbook. I wouldn't have started trying some of these things. So I think that tells us that even though the art that we do sometimes starts out for ourselves, we never really quite know. And that's great that it starts out and we do it for ourselves, but we really never quite know how much it can help others and what it can, the ripple effects that it can do. Um, I know of photographers that, like Mitty, what she's doing for protecting the ocean and the type of things that they're doing and the activism there. It's pretty amazing. So this artivism is a great thing. Hi, Shauna. How are you? It's Sheena. Good to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. And we just finished the book called The Artivist by Nikkolas Smith, who coined the phrase. And it's like an art activist, and after a drawing that he did that was turned into posters and he'd seen on billboards and things, and it really made a big difference. So that was the book that I had for this. I really um, the other book that I have that I could share tonight is not about art at all, really. It's about the other thing that the other thing that always makes me feel pretty spectacular, a place that I absolutely love, and that is the library. And this is based on true people and true events that happened. And it's just another one where I think it's when we look at literature as the art that we also a form of art that takes a stand and tells some things, and that it is relevant to today, even though it's highlighting a bit of history. So I'm going to share this one too, and we're going to get book 2, which is called Love in the Library. Let me make myself a little smaller and bring you up here. And there. Yes. Love in the Library. And it's by Maggie Tokuda Hall. And it's illustrated by Yaz Imamura. Let's see if I've got this. I got that. Oh, let me make sure it's the right size. And there, that's what I wanted. I want a double feature. Love in the Library. Tama did not like the desert. She brushed the dust from her eyes as she walked to the library. The barbed wire fence and guard towers cast long shadows over her path. She always did her best not to look at the guards. Tama had taken the job in the library because she liked books. She didn't know how to be a librarian, but that didn't matter. In the camps, people did the jobs that needed doing, and that was that. Good morning, Tama, a voice boomed. It was George. Like every other day, George was waiting at the door for Tama with a stack of books he'd checked out only the day before. Good morning, George, Tama replied. He waited for her to unlock the library and then he followed her inside. Tama and George had been in Minidoka for a year already. She should have graduated college the previous summer, but instead, Tama was here. All the Japanese Americans from the West Coast were in prison camps like Minidoka, elderly people, children, babies. It didn't matter who you were, just what you were. And being Japanese American then was treated like a crime. And though each camp was different, they were all the same, uncomfortable and unjust. In the summer, it was brutally hot. In the winter, it was brutally cold. Rain in the fall and spring left mud around the latrines they all needed to use. Whole families shared single rooms. No one had any privacy. Tama did not know when she could leave Minidoka, if she ever would, but there was nothing to be done about that. So she worked in the library and watched as each day passed her by. Some days, many people would come to the library and borrow something to read. Other days, especially when it snowed, hardly anyone would brave the cold just for a book. But most days were the same. Tama kept her eyes down and tried not to think about the life she used to have. There was a word that described this. Tama knew. Constant. Constant questions, constant worries, constant fear. But then there was also George. George and his big smile were constant. And the books were constant company, which was nice. Tama loved books. Caught in their pages were worlds bursting with color and light, love and fairness. Pressed between the covers were words that planted seeds in the garden of Tama's mind. How magical that even in Minidoka, such a small little library, could fit so much inside its four walls. Tama kept a word for that too, nestled close to her heart. Miraculous, she whispered. What was that? Asked George. His voice was so big I barely fit in the library. Tama blushed. When she held up her finger to remind him of the rules, they were in a library after all. George just went on grinning at her. Tama wanted to smile back, She tried to focus on the things that made her smile. The boys outside hollering and cheering as they played baseball, the books themselves, and the smell of their pages. But she could not make herself smile. She sighed. "What's wrong?" George asked. "Nothing, or everything," Thomas said. She did not need to tell him what she meant. He knew. Everyone in Minidoka knew. "I try not to complain. I know this isn't fair, but I also know there is nothing to be done. I try not to be afraid, but I'm just so. But she could not think of a word that was right. So she was scared and sad and confused and frustrated and lonely and hopeful. Maybe there was no word that fit. Maybe for the first time in her life, there was no single word that she could hold in her heart or help her understand. And that thought was so sad to Tama, so upsetting, that she felt the hot prickle of tears behind her eyes. "Hey," George said, and for once his voice was small and soft. "There's a word for that, you know." "There is?" Hope bubbled big and bold in Tama's heart. "Human," George said. He smiled, his big smile, and Tama smiled back. She wiped her eyes. She held the word close to her heart and felt less alone than she had only a moment before. "You can't possibly be reading all those books you check out," she said. "No," he replied. "Do you see how long they are? I'm only human, you know." "So then why do you come every day?" She laughed, but George was not laughing. And then for the first time, she saw him. Really saw George. Heart. It was her. Tama. They were married. Tama and George, and their first son was born in Minidoka. They hoped for the best. Their love for the family they made was constant. Even if the injustice their family was created within was constant too. To fall in love is already a gift. But to fall in love in a place like Minidoka, a place built to make people feel like they weren't human, that was miraculous. That was humans doing what humans do best. The miracle is in us, Tama wrote in her journal. As long as we believe in change, in beauty, in hope. That miracle is hard to find sometimes, but it is in all of us. And here's the author's note. This is a true story, mostly. George and Tama are my maternal grandparents. They had 5 children, including my mother. They truly did meet in Minidoka, a Japanese incarceration camp in Idaho. Tama was the camp librarian. Their first son, Floyd, was born there. But the dialogue I imagined, save for one line, the miracle is in all of us. Those are Tama's exact words taken from her journal. After the nation of Japan attacked Pearl Harbor in 1941, Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 9066, which caused citizens of Japan at Japanese ancestry on the West Coast to be relocated. This was a tidy language used to obfuscate the truth that American citizens were to be wrongfully imprisoned for the crime of being Japanese. The 120,000 Japanese Americans who were incarcerated lost their jobs, their homes, their educations, and their possessions. They had to go on short notice to relocation centers and then incarceration camps, and only with what they could carry. Family heirlooms, cherished belongings, pets. So much was left behind by necessity. They might need food, tools, clothes. They didn't know. They weren't told. And so they were left their lives behind. Robbed of their rights and their dignity, the Americans who found themselves in squalor and destitution made the best of their lives that they could in the camps. And that to me is the great wonder of this story, that even under those circumstances, that terrible injustice, Tama and George found love. This is not to say that it was worth it. No. Their improbable joy does not excuse virulent racism, nor does it minimize the pain, the trauma, and the deaths that resulted from it. But it is to situate it in a deeply American tradition of racism. As much as I would hope this would be a story of a distant past, it is not. It's very much the story of America here and now. The racism that put my grandparents into Minidoka is the same hate that keeps children in cages on our border. It's the myth of white supremacy that brought slavery to our past and allows the police to murder Black people in our present. It's the same fear that brings Muslim bans. It's the same contempt that creates voter suppression, medical apartheid, and food deserts. The same cruelty that carved reservations out of stolen sovereign land, that paved the Trail of Tears. Hate is not a virus, it is an American tradition. And yet, so many of us find improbable joy. Our capacious hearts feel the love that our nation has denied us, just as Tama and George did in the face of all that hate. Though it is always easier to destroy than it is to build, reminding myself of stories like Tama and George reminds me to hope, to let my heart seek out the beauty and the peace the marginalized miraculously create for themselves, to let myself imagine a future where that love is not improbable but easy, to force myself to fight for that future. Because if we can fall in love, if we can find our joy, if we can find that miracle despite all of these truths, what else can we do? Wow. Okay, sometimes the author's notes get to me just as much as the story. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I still have, I went out breaking up at the end. Okay, same here. Everyone's art is beautiful. People need to see the beauty. Yes, Linda. I've seen what's left of those camps. Give me the creeps. Yes, they are. It is. But it's amazing when these stories are brought out, and it reminds us that, those of us who believe in this kind of freedom, we do something. So my little bit is to share these stories and to remind people that we can stand up for it. Our art stands for something, and our voice stands for something. So that was my stories for tonight for art in action, as I said. The Artivist and Love in the Library. Oh my goodness. So thanks, Tamara. I'm glad you guys liked him. And it is my joy to bring you books that have beautiful art in them, that tell beautiful stories, that tell sometimes funny stories, sometimes hard truths, but it's my joy to bring those because they're things that we all get to hear and can choose to hear. So thank you so much for being here and for being part of the Bucket Filling Brigade. And I hope you have a great week ahead of you, everybody. And until next time, everyone, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you, but the first place you'll find it is when you go look in your own mirror. And I'll see you next time.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, run